Well, it's another day, which means it's around another launch of yet another live service game. Kind of. That was yesterday. Now don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily have a problem with live service games. They do fill a nice role for gamers to have an ever-evolving game, typically at a very low cost of entry. Think of Warframe, which is very relevant to this title. Content isn't all dropped at once. You are able to jump in and out and complete what you want as you go on, quit for a while and come back and be able to easily understand where you left off and pick it back up. Some games have revolved their entire game's life cycle around this. Path of Exile is a great example. Every few months, a new season comes along, adding game-changing elements, allowing players to participate through it for a limited time or for the entire time of that season's life cycle. In fact, they just launched a new season. Diablo 4 has started this as well on top of that initial pre-purchase. Their first season is about halfway finished. The next one coming up in October. And those are free alongside the purchase outside of some cosmetic riddled battle passes. Destiny 2 has done this. Bungie has started this kind of system since their breakup with Activision, to a great result for their bottom line, but more recently just kind of ticked off their player bases. Not every studio can launch a fully completed game with no auxiliary source of income, such as, an example being Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian Studios. Hell, from first-hand accounts from them themselves, it sounds like part of it was near hell, near bankruptcies, etc. Nor are games like Starfield from Bethesda backed by large corporations such as Microsoft and just kind of given free rein to even delay a game by a year if need be to get it just right for release. Live service games have their place, and that's fine. I understand it. There's quite a few that I enjoy. Typically, smaller studios can rely on them to push out content at a slower pace and have various paid mechanisms within the game to help secure funding. One I've been playing a lot recently is the MMO light Palia. It's an MMO that takes a lot of inspiration from the more cozy side of gaming. Think Stardew Valley if it was third person, and in an MMO. There you go, you pretty much have Palia. The entire game is free to play. There are microtransactions, yes, but currently, and as stated by Serenity 6, the developers themselves, which is also a new development studio, these microtransactions are only and will forever only be for cosmetic outfit appearances and have no impact upon the game itself. After the 80 or so hours I put into Palia since its launch, I can attest to this fact. There's no convenience or power to be purchased with real money. I did see a gold seller once, but that was weird. I guess that can be it, but that's not really going to the developers themselves. The game is fun. I honestly do desire to see Palia and Serenity 6 succeed, so I did voluntarily opt to purchase a currency bundle and an outfit in hopes that it helps them succeed and carry on in the future. I will continue to play it as well. It's just a nice time relaxing. Spend it farming, fishing, hunting, mining, lumberjacking, bug catching, foraging, and just running around. It is a cozy game. It's very relaxing. Palia, by all accounts, is what I think of as a live service game should be. If you have microtransactions, don't let them meaningfully impact the gameplay outside of cosmetic choice. Hell, even Blizzard managed to do this correctly with Diablo 4, where your real money purchases are nothing more than armor transmogs. Anything that could be considered game-altering is not purchased and free to earn, no matter if you are a paid or free-playing seasonal player through the Season Pass. It's just playing the game gets you all the same stuff. Then we come to the darker side of things, and I'm going to finally begin talking about Wayfinder on a number of issues. However, it does seem that both Airship Syndicate and Digital Extremes, the publisher and developer for it, have responded humbly and, I think, an overall positive message to the community feedback regarding the title's launch and early access. They even cleared up the air on something that I had no idea that storefronts such as Steam did, which makes sense to me and kind of lets me understand why one of the issues happened. So, I'm going to go over my thoughts on that, what happened, and how they responded. Wayfinder is a title that I was and perhaps still am looking forward to. I enjoyed the closed alpha and betas I was in, enjoyed the open beta immensely. There are problems such as serviceability and engine slowdowns, graphical hitches, but that's what the beta is for, to help iron those issues out. So naturally, I was looking forward to early access, and that was supposed to launch on August 15th. Looking forward to another game that was advertised as having a fair microtransaction system within a free-to-play title. Fair is all over the place, though. Talia is generous, I believe. Warframe is fair, and that's how I believe this would operate at launch, seeing as how Digital Extremes was directly involved. The developer and publisher of Warframe was publishing Wayfinder, a very similar game overall. I was wrong. I was very wrong. Early access launch was an abysmal mess for a multitude of reasons, and it's still very, very slowly cleaning up. Early access for Wayfinder is paid access only currently, providing the player with, a bevy of in-game goodies for their purchase of what will eventually turn into a free-to-play title down the road once it leaves early access. This game is, something I don't see as an issue with its baseline. You pay to get access to a title early ahead on. You'll have your high-end players when the game launches in free-to-play. Good to know, you get free goodies for supporting them ahead of time, essentially. Early access was supposed to begin on August 15th, but then it was delayed to August 17th at the very last moment for what the developer stated as just needing more time to clean up the title for launch. When it did launch, oh boy, only a handful of those interested who purchased early access at price points ranging from $20 up to $150 could access the game. A majority could not, and that was made very clear based upon the Steam reviews, myself included. A lot more people were were less constructive and just more angry. There was no visible queue to the player when you tried to log in either. It was just infinitely recycled to the logon screen, so people who purchased the access could not access it. My thoughts were, well, seeing the early access packs ahead of time and being able to purchase that would give Airship Syndicate a good indicator of what day one server would need to be like. You would know how many players would want to experience the game ahead of time. But in the response from Airship, they kind of cleared the air on that. Now, those early access packs, there's another issue entirely with those, aside from not being able to purchase them until exactly launch time. There's basic access for just $20, and then there's 3 more packs beyond that. Even further up the line, you can purchase higher tiers for more goodies for the extra support you're providing them through that early access. The Initiate Pack is an additional $29.99. The Awaken Pack an additional $39.99 on top of the Initiate Pack. Finally, you have the Exalted Pack, which is an initial $59.99 with everything else also tacked on, coming out to a total of $149.99 before taxes for that Founders Pack. They all came with extra goodies, cosmetics, Wayfinder unlock tokens, which are essentially your classes, your different characters you can play as. Think how Warframes operate, different skills and everything. And of course, a large chunk of in-game currency. Turns out any pack purchased above the Initiate Pack was not being given the rewards to those who have purchased it. I know this from the discourse you can see in their official Discord, and because I'm one of the idiots who purchased as well, because I enjoyed the game throughout the alpha, closed beta, open beta. I wanted to see it succeed, give me a little head start, and if there was something I wanted to purchase down the road, I wouldn't need to then. So that's an entire another issue they kind of talked about with no real resolution in sight yet, and we'll go over that when I get to their response. Lastly here, and the biggest issue I had above the poor communication for launch and the Founders Pack items not being sent out and provided correctly, was the in-game cash shop. This is where it diverged from that of Digital Extremes. Initially, you could purchase new Wayfinders and weapon types in the shop, much like you could in Warframe. However, it turns out that wasn't the case, even though that's how it was advertised. Warframe lets you purchase, access to the different Warframes early via the Prime system, a straight-up monetarily transaction through Steam or other storefronts, accessories, etc., with no need for using in-game currency. Or you could, of course, go the route of in-game currency, but it's all priced at the cost of the exact monetary purchase. Warfinder failed to do this. They did not do this. For an example, and here's a very, very good example of a predatory microtransaction system. $10 within the game would net you 1,100 rune silver, which is their in-game currency. A weapon in the shop would cost you 1,150 rune silver. See what they did there? They make you purchase over that amount. They make you purchase the $20 pack to be able to purchase that item that is just so close to that $10 amount. But then they don't leave you enough rune silver for yet another transaction. This had also been addressed in their recent update to the community. And like I said, they did cover a lot of these topics. These were all the main topics and issues and gripes I had with the game, as well as a majority of the people. And so I will give them credit where it's due. Today, the 18th, Airship Syndicate, along with Digital Extremes, released a statement on these issues, which my gripes were included, and many others who were looking forward to the title, so let's go ahead and cover that letter. So here we do. We have the update from both Airship Syndicate and Digital Extremes via their Discord, the official Discord server for Wayfinder. Let's go ahead and just cover it. I'll interject here with things. Yesterday sucked. There is no other way to say it. It sucked for people who purchased Founders Packs and couldn't play, and it sucked for us to see players unable to get into the game after believing in us and our vision. Early access isn't a crutch. It's a conversation between a studio and the community that's helping build the game alongside the studio. We said it from the start that we'd be transparent and open with the community, and that continues now that we have players entrusting us with their money and us failing to deliver. This is a very good opening. I never really thought early access as a crutch. I do believe how they phrase this is very well. Early access is for the most devout players and lovers of a game or a franchise, or in this case, a studio. Airship Syndicate has released, quite a few bangers in their past. They're responsible for the Ruined King League of Legends game. They're responsible for quite a few, actually. I don't want to show this because that's my purchase history when I was getting the prices for everything. But they do have quite a few successful games in their past that are loved by the players. And this is definitely a one-off. It's a new direction for them. They found typically a great publisher who also responded directly as well. So this is a great start off here. They understand that they failed to deliver, even after that delay. Servers and login. Although we ran technical tests and betas across multiple regions, we were seeing more players every minute than played in our beta each day. Although we had a queue system ready, that system failed immediately. There was no queue system popping up. It was just, please log in, please log in, please log in. Just a constant cycle. Half the time the menu buttons wouldn't work because I think that queue system was trying to initiate. Then you get those login requests repeated, overloading the servers, causing more issues. We quickly implemented numerous fixes to try and stabilize the login experience, and those failed as well. We ended up having to put a cap on the players that were on the server, which was less than ideal and resulted in the maximum player limit reach error last night. That is one I saw many times. I got past it once. I played for 10 minutes, then went to load into the islands, and was infinitely stuck loading as I was booted from the server for various issues. So, yeah, that's not something you want to see. Everything is instanced, so I'm not sure how exactly they're going to fix it, but they're constantly improving it, apparently. Let's see here. Server alerts. So yeah, they're in the process of constantly working on everything. So creating more server space, more instances, everything. And then here we have directly from Digital Extremes, the publisher, working with Airship Syndicate on this. At early access launch, severe server login issues led to many players not being able to connect or play. We know and value your trust and apologize for the shaky beginning. As players ourselves, we know the disappointment many are feeling. We apologize. We know players have high expectation of DE's infrastructure to deliver in moments like this, and in this instant, we as the publishers fell short. We're committed to ensuring long-term stability through the early access period. We are thankful for the enthusiasm and interest of our community and for our continued patience as we close in on a permanent solution. Honestly, just going through the general chat, there's a reason I have this muted. I have everything muted except for one. My server, the Church of Nick Cage. Look at that beautiful man right there. Look at that man yelling. But this is just constantly popping up. There's a lot of people in the server. There's a ton. I don't want to open up the member list because I don't want to dox anybody. But Digital Extremes understands, kind of where they went wrong. They didn't have enough server capacity for everything going on here. And they're going to kind of get into that. They They talked about more interest than what was available in the beta, and we're going to see why they didn't have the server capacity. We realized that buying something and not being able to actually log in and play, frankly, is a bad look. It is a very bad look. One solution we heard often was that we should have offered pre-sales to gauge interest. That was my thought. You see pre-orders a lot of the time being engaged for server capacity for an MMO launch, like with World of Warcraft, their latest expansion, the Dragon Isles, Dragonflight. You can pre-purchase that. Blizzard can see how many people pre-purchase that and are expected to do it, so they can correctly adjust the server capacity, the server load, how many servers they have for the launch, and then gradually lower them as interest falls off as people move on to the next major patch. And they get into why that's not possible with a title entering early access. Unfortunately, first-party stores do not allow pre-sales of early access, and we were unable to meet demand. They were relying entirely upon that wish list, but which isn't really reliable either, because that doesn't tell you how many people are going to be interested to play it day one and purchase it as we go on. So my entire idea of just letting people purchase the early access ahead of time doesn't work. I think that's something that can be done and worked on between, say, Valve using Steam with large, well-known publishers like Digital Extremes, but who knows. Currently, the game's queue is functioning. I haven't checked it out yet. Sitting in a queue isn't actually being in-game and playing, but it's allowing a trickle of players in as we continue to up capacity across all regions, and that has been successful. We'll continue to make optimizations to the queue and servers in the coming days and weeks until all players are in and playing. So, it's good. It's starting to work. Having that queue screen to let you know it's actually functioning is a big deal. Knowing that something is functioning in the game correctly is important. Players can then use that, engage how long until they can actually get in and go, do something else they need to. Founders Pack issues. We are also aware that a portion of players did not get their Founders Pack items. We're aware of this issue, and although it affects a small portion of players, it's a priority to make sure that our founders get their items. A lot of missing items are related to the server issues, and unfortunately, we can't provide a better update right now until we have more stability. Again, Founders Packs are you entrusting us, and we didn't deliver. Please contact our support at this time so we can collect your information as we work towards a solution. That is not the best solution at all. You have reports of people trying to make transactions in-game monetarily, and then the server crashes. The transaction's completed on the server end, but the player doesn't receive anything, in fact. So their customer support is going to be very busy trying to fix this out. I'm currently trying to deal with them for my items, so we'll see how that goes. Here's my big one. Monetization. We also saw conversation around our bundle prices being just shy of items in our store. We agree that this is not player friendly. Thank you. We're revisiting this pricing so that they are 1,000 rune silver and will retroactively grant the difference for anyone that has paid for any of these weapons. That is a great change. It's not a PvP game. Having that weapon doesn't really change anything. It just affects your playstyle in the game. While I prefer that not be how you got it, not giving people with just deeper pockets access to other stuff, absent the grind, maybe. Just make them all free and you unlock it as you go and just give better cosmetics or something, stuff that doesn't really change it. But when you price an item just above the transaction range, that is immensely, immensely bad. That is super predatory, and it is awful. And when I saw that, I was in the gutters of my thoughts of Airship Syndicate, and even Digital Extremes thinking that they would allow this with how they've successfully managed Warframe up till now. But they heard people's thoughts on that, and they are changing that and granting people, a retroactive refund for anything. Compensation, players lost valuable time waiting to get into the game or taking days off to play. That sucks. Don't take days off to play in a game. If you're going to take days off, take the Monday after a game's launch weekend or something, or the Monday and Tuesday. Unless it's a single player game you can get away with, like Baldur's Gate 3, don't do it. Don't do an online game at all. You're not going to get in. I had people who took time off to play New World. They did not get in. yeah, we're currently working on our plans for compensating those purchased in early access, whether they got in the game or not. So that's good. If you played, it's not a great experience with the servers being as they are. There's not people in to play with. The server stability is pretty poor, so you're probably booted after 10 minutes and whatnot, people not being able to get in. That's a good look. That's good on them. Not every studio will do any sort of compensation in any sort of meaningful way either, so this is a really good look for them. Yes, they proved that Wayfinder has an audience. They found that out. But we must take action to meet the demand that the audience deserves. First, that involves us fortifying our underlying platform and technology to deliver our vision for our online world for friends. It's about winning back our players' trust through actions and not words. And it's about getting the game into a playable state for that. So, there you have it. Wayfinder launched abysmally. There's no way around that. But they are aware of it. It's not an immediate response. They did give an update yesterday that they were getting together with Digital Extremes to come up with this letter to their community, essentially. I don't know if it's on their website. I just know it's in Discord. I saw it earlier, and that made me very happy that they spoke to every single gripe that I had, from changing their predatory microtransaction system to something that is fair, to Founders Pack issues while not having an actual fix immediately. Hopefully support will be able to help that. I'm waiting on word back from them as we speak. The servers and login. I didn't know Steam didn't allow pre-purchasing of early access. So not entirely sure what to do in that case going forward, because if that was a system that was allowed, I do believe Airship Syndicate and Digital Extremes together could have had a much better system in place rather than being completely overloaded to where few systems that were supposed to pop up just did not work at all. So there's got to be some other workaround there, because that wishlist button's not going to help when it's an online-only game such as this. But overall, Digital Extremes taking some, admitting that the game shouldn't have launched in this state, with them being the publisher. People expected better of them. That's a good look. Airship Syndicate coming out and just saying, yeah, this sucked. We dropped the ball. Here's what we're going to do. It's a great look. So hopefully from here on, with the server sizes increasing constantly, it looks like it just increased even more. Hopefully everyone who purchased will be able to get in, and those Founder Pack issues will be resolved. So yeah, this is why my impressions video of Wayfinder is not going to be on time. It might not even be before Starfield at this rate, because I'm doing one for Palia, which launched fantastically. I do recommend Palia. If you want to try out something that might be a little out of your wheelhouse, Palia is fun. It's a fun time. You want to kill stuff, there is hunting. There is full-on third-person bow aiming, hunting, and you can throw smoke bombs at bugs to catch them. And the fishing minigame's actually pretty fun. The cooking is really complex at times, managing 5 different things. It's like you're playing Overcooked or something, or Cooking Mom, or whatever those games are. But yeah, this is a really good look. This is a really good update coming from both the developer and their publisher. So hopefully I'll have something up soon about this, about Wayfinder continuing on and hopefully succeeding, because it is a fun game. It is a good idea. More games like Warframe, it should be out there that are fair free-to-play games. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a good rest of your day. The fuck's my hotkey?